Today, we're going to do a recap of what we did yesterday, which was reconstruct or deconstruct and reconstruct the composition we were working on for just like an exercise from C major. It shifted then to C minor pentatonic, and then it shifted again from C minor pentatonic to F minor pentatonic. And we had discussed the scales and all those things. Today I want to brief on what a measure is, or a bar. It's actually the same thing. I grew up on measures because I lived in like South Africa and Japan. I think they used a different word in Japan. But measures was what I learned, and in the end I'm actually teaching my students to use measure versus bar. This is called a bar line. Oh, first of all, this is a great book. Exercise book. There are a whole bunch of these called A Dozen a Day. I learned on these in Japanese as a child in Japan, and this one is in English. But these are great exercises for beginners. There is a one that's primary. This is book 2. There's a book 1. But it helps you along to understand timing. This is what I learned off of, and you know what? I think it's one of the best in the world. It's been around since the 70s or something. So, A Dozen a Day. So this is a bar line. You see the line over there? And a bar is this, or a measure. So this is called a measure, and this is a bar line, or a bar. Yeah. And then 2 measures, right? Okay. Okay, so we're going to go back and listen to this quickly. Let's listen to this quickly. Many things we can still do. Just added a little bit of reverb. I would do that to voice as well. It adds just a slight delay, just to kind of add some warmth to it. And you can find this here where it says tools. It doesn't say tools, but it has adjustable. There's an adjustable. Okay, so that's basically it. And we have, going back to this is in 4/4. Let's see if this shows. I'm going to just use A Dozen a Day as an example. 4/4, that's what 4/4 looks like. This is the time signature. This is in C major. Treble clef, bass clef, time signature, and then if it has sharps or flats between the treble clef and the time signature, it would be. So if it has sharps and flats between a time signature, that means it changes the key signature. This would be the key signature, this would be the time signature. I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay, let's try that again. This would be the key signature if it has no sharps and flats in C major. Time signature, I'm not going to talk about that yet, that's an A. Treble clef, bass clefs are right hand and left hand. This is a little bit more advanced than beginners, but there are beginners exercises from a dozen a day. I highly recommend it if you're learning to work on music. I learned from it as a child, and this is like my Bible. Okay, so that's the general layout. I don't know if I want to get more into reworking this, but I think I just wanted to talk about measures, because once we start looking into the actual composition, obviously we have like a beginning, middle, and end, and there's a breathable space, and you can add more layers to it. So this is a starting point. I think people are happy. I think everybody's happy with the sound of this. So instead of doing it in a major, maybe if you're composing a piece, once you've understand the chords, like C major, I'll talk about all those other things later. But we can start talking about chords next. So this was what I did. F pentatonic. Oh, let's do F minor. For the left-handers out there, you can always play around with composition in the left hand. So once you have the basic chords, you can then, if you want to then play around with a left-hand melody, maybe the melody is used for the bass, maybe you have a low voice, you can sing it. So don't think that the right hand and the left hand, it matters to be right hand. I actually had students who were left-handed, and the piano just happened to be a fantastic instrument for them to learn on as well. So the piano as an instrument doesn't determine whether or not you're going to be a good musician or not if you're right-handed or left-handed. It's up to you to decide if this is a goal and a direction you want to take, and it takes a little bit of work to become, I still have a long way to go too, and I've had 30-something or 40 years, I'm 43 now, so 30-something, maybe I started when I was 3 years old. I'm 43 now, so about 40 years of music in my life. I'm not, I wish I was a spring chicken, but I'm not. Somebody had mentioned about the belt that I wear. It's because I'll respond to that. It's totally fine. I don't mind people asking. I gained a little bit of weight after I broke my leg in 2 places, and it's forever changed my life. I cannot exercise the way I used to. I can't lift my body up the way I used to. So I know that this is going to be one of those permanent damages for the rest of my life. So I've had to change my lifestyle completely. I can't lift things like I used to. I'm using weights when I exercise, but it's not the same. I can't do the cardio that I used to because my leg swells. So I have to find other ways to maintain my weight, my exercise, my health. Eating the right foods matters. After you hit 43, everything could go downhill if you're not taking care of yourself. So at this time, until I lose my little puppy fat between my waist, I'm going to be wearing the belt. It's a waist trainer, and it makes me feel a little bit more comforted, knowing that I'm not freaking out about my weight, because I was very thin before. I was 105 pounds. I was very, very small, and I'm like I'm 5'1", and I was 105 pounds. So you can just imagine, I'm a very short person. So if you're short and you have a little bit of weight on you, you look a little bit bigger than somebody that's taller with the same amount of weight on your body. So when you're filming something for something like YouTube or television, you're going to put on that extra 10 pounds. Whether or not it's true, you can visibly see it. You can see when people are a little bit thinner, their bodies don't look as rotund. I would say I'm happily rotund, but I'm working on my weight. So I had to learn how to walk again. I was crawling. I mean, it was a serious operation. I was not, like, I wouldn't be playing around with that situation, or trying to So I'm still in recovery. Now the surgeons had said it's going to take about 3 years. I think they're about right. 3 years. It's been 2 years now. So I have 1 more year to go, and I need to see like the difference. I have lost a lot of weight. I think I've lost about 20 pounds off of what I was before. I just have a little bit more to go. And hopefully I'll be able to start walking a little bit more frequently than I used to. Walking is very important. You have to walk. If you can't run, you can walk. If you can't walk, you can hobble, like I've been hobbling. But yeah, so that's basically what it is I've had to accept the fact that my body has changed, and I've had to accept the fact that different muscles work differently in my body after the operation I had to go through. They literally had to reconstruct my leg so I could walk again. I mean, it was emergency operation. It was fun. Yeah, so I don't have to get more into that. I think it is important that people know that there is a reason why I have it on. It's because my torso, my core is not working the way it used to. So I cannot get up and get down and sit on the ground and then jump up like I used to. I have to roll my body over in order to actually lift myself up, which is not me. I was very athletic when I was younger. So yeah, it's totally fine. I don't mind answering questions. It's totally good. This is why we are doing this. Thank you again. So I will talk more about how we will structure this piece next. We will stick to the F minor pentatonic scale. And if you don't know about the other stuff I spoke about in the music theory aspect of music composition, go through my videos and you can see all the other videos and you can see what I had discussed prior to this. Probably important to start from the beginning to see how we landed up with where we are right now. Music is a process. Music is, it's an art. It is an art. And what's nice about this is if you're composing something, I enjoy composing. And if you're composing something, you can take out and put back together and remove and add in whenever you feel like it, because sound waves work through electronics, which is how this is working. And it creates, I suppose, a vibrational aspect into technology, which creates the sound waves which actually work. There's like a whole technical thing behind it. If you are a composer, for instance, and you like composing, production is the way to go. Don't see it as something separate. It sounds very scary and daunting, but when you get into it, you realize it's a helpful tool. And it's very helpful to learn if you're doing Facebook or Instagram, or if you're wanting to come up with a Spotify. And oh yeah, I have to speak about ASCAP. I've been signed up with ASCAP for years, which is a company that deals with copyright rights. So if you have your own songs and you create your own music, probably best to sign up with ASCAP. I think you might have to be 18 and older for that. And then obviously, you know, CD Baby, which is where you transfer all your files once you complete like a track and then send it over to Spotify, and they disperse it on different platforms. So yeah, you have like the middleman, which I guess CD Baby would be, but still have the ASCAP, because I would highly, like, I've uploaded and sent all my tracks, or whatever tracks that I have done, to ASCAP to make sure that nobody steals it. If it is eventually brought up somewhere along the way, you could actually take those people or the individual to court if it is a problem. So that's where all the copyright claims can be identified. In South Africa, it was Samro, and I had to transfer from Samro. I didn't have to, but I felt like I needed to if I was moving to the States. I moved from South Africa to the States, and from Samro to ASCAP. And I'm sure in other countries you have other companies that have copyright rights, and you are protected by them if they are well recognized and good companies. You also get the bad quality companies and people who steal money. I'm not going to bring up names, but there have been a couple of interesting things that have happened in South Africa. So yeah, so that's the talk, and thank you so much for popping through, guys, and please like and subscribe. I'm still building up the channel, and I'm still working towards trying to get everything together with the notes and all these other things, and I'm in the process of also submitting my tracks to Spotify next. I've done a couple of things. I was actually doing it with Reverb, and I think Reverb Nation was charging per month again, and CD Baby does not charge per month. They sign you up, and obviously they have a responsibility to you, and you have a responsibility to them. But there are a lot of companies out there that are taking money from people monthly, which doesn't necessarily have to happen. So if you are like me, you got to just look into the right places and platforms to make sure you're doing the right choices for you. Okay, thank you again, and hope to see you guys in the next one.